So the story goes, I have a wonderful partner. He works very hard. We both work, but he does 90% of everything. He takes
Okay.
great care of us as his family.
Okay.
With that being said, we don't really date. I do go out with my girlfriend and he doesn't mind, but to go out I want to be out with him a lot more. My partner looks amazing to me. He's fun to be around. I would say we have a great relationship. However, I'm starting to feel very lonely.
Okay.
He does not take time to date me, and I feel very selfish for actually wanting him to be more proactive when it comes to
Yeah.
us dating.
Okay.
We've had numerous conversations throughout the years, and it's not like we don't take vacations or anything.
Okay.
As a woman, I want to be loved. I want to be seen as attractive by my partner, and I'm feeling like we're losing that.
There's a lot of ways to approach that. I'm going to give the benefits of the doubt to the two people and say they are people who love each other. If I was to get into that guy's head, what I'd probably discover is that along the way, he got distracted so much by focusing on providing that he forgot, by the way, we are in a relationship, not that we are just, it's just me like, okay, we got a place, okay, we got food, we got this. I also have to remember that, I have to, connect with this person. So I know that happens actually, like that can happen to a guy where you're so focused on, anyone, when you're so focused on, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do that you forget that you still have to charm this person to keep them on your team. So I think one of the things that happens is sometimes you'll enter that routine because you believe that you've done the things now to have them on your team, not realizing that there are things that you actually have to sustain. Maintain, sustain, that you have to do in the connection between the two people to keep together as like a team. There's a difference between providing and keeping up the romance. And most times the classic black comedy will say, I pay the rent or I pay the bills, don't I? Isn't that enough romance? Which obviously the reality it actually isn't, So maybe that's the sort of thing that has risen there.
We've moved into roommate mode and not actually having that sense of, oh, this is somebody that I used to be attracted to, and I have there's some sort of sexual tension there. That's a very delicate thing that most of the time as couples, I don't think we understand how to speak about. Because it's an ebb and flow. It won't be like a high momentum every single stage of the relationship or like every single day. So not knowing that, we fail to describe what's going on within ourselves as to what's going on. It's like there's no attraction, or there is little attraction, or there's no spark anymore, but you don't know how to say that. With the woman writing as how she's writing, it's like, I don't want to seem like I'm complaining or nagging. It's already a thing of how are you framing it. She's not framing it in a manner where he feels valued and feels as if like it's a request more than just like, we're not doing this anymore and you're nagging. So I think the challenge here is like, how are you communicating it? She's not being how she's communicating isn't being received as a request, but more of a, why aren't we?
And the reason she's saying complaining, whatever, odds are her timing is off when she brings up these topics. So they come across as a complaint to the guy. And it's like you say, maybe she doesn't know how to actually frame it as not that you wrong or I'm wrong, but rather the relationship as its own person. Something has slipped. And we are now becoming roommates where there's no longer that thing, but it's always like, hey, pelubi, sipi, like functional things. That's why I always like for us to do those functional questions like at a set time, and then the rest of it is like, we're in relationship mode, whatever, romantic mode. Because once you live a life of just continuous function, did you do this? Did you do this?
Pull yourself out of
there. You're out.
Because it's like, it takes you to intentionally actually want to come out of there, and the other person is possibly, you see the challenge and you're trying to rectify it, and the other person's actually a bit cold because they have to warm up to the idea because they haven't thought like that in a long time as well. So it feels very awkward for you, and you're putting yourself out there as well, and that could be that sense of fear that is created there, and that awkwardness of actually me doing something means pulling something that might be rejected or just not be received at all.
One thing I'll say from a guy's perspective, something that guys tend to be very afraid of is to have their relationship skills or game, as they put it, judged or assessed. So if you come to a guy and say, you no longer do XYZ, which was a thing that's like a dating game thing, whatever. It almost feels like, Utsi, you no longer are like a guy with game type of vibe. And most guys will quickly become defensive when you bring that up. Because now what he'll do, he will grab evidence that he has, that he thinks is being a good guy to you. He'll say, how, dude, but I just paid the bills. I just did this. I just did this. Last month, you remember, I bought you those earrings. I did this, did this. Meanwhile, he's not understanding what you're actually saying, what you're bringing up. Because to him, he's now taking everything as an accusation or as an assessment of his lack of game, which is actually not what's in question. What's in question is, dude, we're not emotionally connecting. But he's taking it as you're judging my game or my, like you're judging my skills or share, basically, type of thing. So instead of actually taking the feedback honestly, the guy will actually now become defensive, and that will actually now distract away from the actual substance of the conversation that she's trying to have with him, which is, yo, because we no longer go out and we no longer enjoy each other's company in a more intimate way, and by intimate I mean just us together somewhere walking on the beach or whatever, we are losing the emotional connection.
There's a tension that holds a relationship that we actually need to understand ourselves, that thing of having safety and security that we want in the relationship, and having that side of romance and that sense of adventure and that sense of just like unpredictability. And normally a relationship that works well is in between these two stages of the tension of the sexual energy being there and being strong and being adventurous and unpredictable being there, but also the security of knowing that this person is here, is not going anywhere, and is secure, and the provisions are being met. And most of the time we lean into the provision and the security and think that that is love, which is true. And then we think that after a certain time, the romance side of things, the unpredictability side of things, and the part where like things are just like really wild between the two of us now gets moved aside, and it sort of dims out of what we see as this relationship that is now settled into maturity. And we think that side was a certain phase of the relationship, and once it's gone, it's gone. Not understanding that the security and the sense of being sure that the relationship is stable, and the unpredictability of just feeling like a sexual being can actually coexist in the same relationship. We don't actually see it that way most of the time. We just think the one side goes and then the other one stays. Not understanding that we can actually cultivate that, and it is our duty to actually continuously cultivate both sides, and to also sensitize our partners to actually be mindful that those two things need to coexist. But because as a woman, I still want to feel that. It is also my duty to have myself feel that as much as I want you as a partner to bring that out of me. And sometimes we forget that it is our duty to actually bring that out of ourselves.
I have a solution to what you just said, to invigorate that balance of the energy of romance plus the other side of it, the safety and security. But the solution is very uncomfortable for people and maybe controversial. And I want to say this in clear English, all right? Act as if, okay? Act as if, not do it, act as if you are having an affair, okay? Not with your partner, but you as your person, okay? Here's what I mean by that. If I, as a guy, act, and notice I'm saying act as if you're having an affair, where you can't always pinpoint me, okay? You know, when a person's having an affair, there's something is going on with this person. There's an unsettling that's there that brings in an anxiety of, I have to perform. I have to tip my toe. That's what I'm saying. Act as if, not go have an affair, but act as if you're having an affair. And not all the time. Once in a while, to sort of just re-energize the person. That's the solution to that. But it's a very, very fine balance, because you might act as if you're having an affair and become too distant and withdrawn that you chase away the person. What that will do is create that space of anqinani, you know, and that's really, like, you know, when a person is having an affair, one of the things you'll notice, that's one of the things you'll notice, like, you know, this person used to be all over my face, but now all of a sudden it's like, you know, they feel sometimes far, they feel sometimes close. There's that sort of thing. And so if you can balance that, there will be a stronger pursuit in the relationship. Now, I'm not saying that's a solution for these guys, but I'm saying in general, if you find yourself in a stale relationship, bring back, that's why people have affairs, by the way, because affairs bring that excitement into that person. But guess what it also does to your partner when you're having an affair and they don't yet know that it's an affair? It brings that anxiety of, is this person slipping away? So they try to catch you again.
Okay.
And then that makes them like, okay, that they try and make your relationship now with them more exciting, not knowing that velo suhambi, like you've pulled away to someone
That's actually,
else.
well, the dynamic that you're presenting here as a possible solution to what I presented is actually, it requires a lot of maturity.
Yeah, a lot of maturity.
A lot of emotional
too much maturity.
And like very tactful way of actually containing that, because that could get very messy.
Yeah, look, relationships, if you want them to go the distance, there's A, emotional maturity involved, but B, you have to think outside of the relationship. So I'll use myself as an example. Like, I'm always thinking, okay, cool, I want to be with no sleep for the next, say, 30, 35 years, however long I live. I don't just have to plan the year. I have to plan in 5 years from now, how am I keeping things still exciting? I have to go learn how that's done. Not just provision, not just keeping the safety and security, but also that excitement of how do I make sure that when you and I see each other, whether we see each other every day, whatever, we still have that excitement that is there. Yes, there'll be moments of going up and down, but I have to consciously think that. Why? And I'll say this, A, because I'm a guy. It's my relationship that I've built. And if I've built something, I have to plan how to maintain it. No one builds a house and then just moves in it and chills. You have to always be thinking, at some point, at some point I need to paint. At some point I need to retile. Sometimes I need to change this. I need to change that. I need to change the globe. I need to do this. You're always thinking, when are those moments going to come? How can I plan for them? How can I make sure that I maneuver around those things? Relationship, the exact same thing. You have to be thinking of different points and different journeys the relationship is going to go through, different phases. How do you manage this? And then you also have to be thinking, how do I manage my girl? That's one of the biggest things that a guy has to do. Remember, we didn't fall into a relationship, okay?
I thought we fell in love.
Oh, wow. There's a lot of work in the kitchen that happens before the food lands on the plate. All of that, you have to think, okay, this guest that's here in my restaurant, there's a lot of work I have to do in the kitchen to keep them coming back to the restaurant. You know, it just doesn't fall into place and happen.
You can articulate it that way as your own frame of thinking and how you work it in your mind. And I could tell you my own side of thing of me not being passively just waiting or passively not doing anything, but actively also doing whatever I can to actually bring that same energy into the relationship.
Yeah, no, obviously, like we are there as a person as well. You have to be thinking, okay, I'm in a relationship. It's going to go through phases. How do I make sure I manage this guy, whatever? No, definitely. I'm not saying women don't do that. I'm saying just as a guy, if you find yourself having relationship problems, odds are 99.99% of the time, it's going to be you're mismanaging something about the girl. It's very rare that a guy has a relationship problem. I'm speaking a decent guy, has a relationship problem because there's something wrong with the girl. Generally, it's because the guy is mismanaging something. So just like this guy here, there's something he's mismanaging. He's mismanaging expectations. He's mismanaging romance. Romance is something. Yeah, misunderstanding. Romance is something as a guy you manage. Okay. And this will sound extremely unromantic, unfortunately. And this is why I say magicians don't reveal their card tricks. But you have to look into your girl's mind and how she thinks, and consciously think, okay, what game, and I use game here not as like mind tricks, but what maneuvers can I do to keep this person on board in the team? I always put it like, if you work for a company, one of the things that good companies are able to do is keep you interested in the company. Not just because they give you a paycheck, but because there's something exciting about going to work there all the time. And that's because the managers or the leaders of that company just know how to do that. You as a guy have to do the exact same thing in a relationship. And that means actually being unromantic because you have to think and plan ahead of things. So sometimes girls be like, oh my gosh, you're so spontaneous. I promise you, there's no guy who's spontaneous. The guy has made it so that he looks spontaneous. That's how you actually maintain being spontaneous in a relationship. You don't become spontaneous. You just know how to make yourself look spontaneous and what spontaneous means to this specific girl, because spontaneous means different things to girls, that's for sure. So there's a lot of things that happen behind the kitchen that guys need to make happen in the relationship in order to serve the good steak that's on the plate. And then the girl's like, oh my gosh, how did you do this? And you're like, oh, it's just easy, it's easy. Hey, he sweated to make that happen, but he's just not going to say it. Yeah, but anyway, that's the story.
With regards to this particular situation, what would your 2 cents be for the lady? How does she?
Earlier, ask for a little bit of cash, put it on the side, take the guy out on a date,
Yeah.
come back home, pamper the man, and then have the conversation afterwards. I assure you the conversation will go down a lot easier once you've gone down a lot easier.
Well, I think for me, the key thing here is for her to take your initial advice of her being proactive. I think a lot of the time, like I said, we shift a challenge that we have in a relationship to be a you problem or a me problem, or either we're all pointing fingers at each other.
Yeah.
Move it away from that and treat it as an us challenge, where I'm now being proactive with bringing solutions to the table. Fine, I'm bringing in like a challenge that I'm seeing that we're facing, but here's my solution. Not that, why won't you take me out anymore? Because already that's he's going to defend because you're telling me that I'm not doing something when you say yourself, I'm doing 90% of the work.
Yeah.
I think it even goes like a little more basic than that. I think even here, it's the engaging and the speaking to each other on a day-to-day basis doesn't have that sense of moving away from the mundanes of every day. And there's I think the lady is also struggling to remove that mundaneness of speaking about the everyday to the stuff that is a little bit more exciting, a little bit more naughty, a little bit more playful. Actually, I think that's the thing that she wants the most, to have that playful energy and not have that sense of responsible parents, responsible household people, and just have that playfulness in the relationship that makes me feel like a little girl that is just being adored by their partner. And that's what she's missing, and that's what she wants dearly. And the very thing that she wants, she doesn't know how to articulate to the partner firstly. And she doesn't know how to bring that out herself in herself. Which means she herself needs to bring that same energy out of herself and learn how to do that on her own. And then maybe slowly introduce that to the partner in a way that actually doesn't accuse him of anything, but like brings out that energy, because women are a strong holder of that energy. So if she's disconnected to that energy on her own, she's now expecting somebody else to ignite that, which cannot happen if you don't have it yourself.
Hence, she's at risk of having an affair. But